Hey guys, welcome to Everything and Anything with Maka Maaele. Before I get started today, though, and I introduce this fine piece of work here, I wanted to get into some sponsorship today. This segment is sponsored by none other than Rock Kingdom Financial. Now, if you're in need of financial advisory for retirement planning, or life insurance, knowing your options, or also debt settlements, please text the word wealth to 310-251-6217. Okay, so this individual that I have today, I'm super, super stoked. Well, not only are we girls, we're sisters, we're aces. I really admire for her boldness right now, just her choice of words to be able to convey and touch lives. Um, but she is a woman of God. She's inspiring. She's impactful. She's a mommy. She's a mommypreneur. She works hard, but I love her dearly. She's a sister to me. Please welcome Sylvia Ngalo Alofaituli. Hey!
Hey.
Hi, sis.
Hi.
Welcome to the segment.
Yes.
So I know I just want to say though, I know this has been a long time coming.
Mhm.
But you bringing out Confessions of a Healing Mother, guys. So this is
Yes.
out now and it's hot and ready. You know, my book has yet to come.
Yeah, I know.
Which is wild. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. Amazon, you wait, okay? I'm gonna have a complaint for you. But I actually ordered it when it first came out. When you actually sent it to me automatically, I literally bought it that day. But it hasn't been shipped yet. So there's so much to drop about this. But I want to start off with like what really inspired you to start the book, sis?
Mhm, mhm. Um, well, I've been writing since I was really young, and you know that. I've had journals of just different writings, and so it wasn't until 2017 where I launched a blog with a letter that I wrote to my daughter. And
Mm.
then from there, I kind of just had these little writings and I would post them on the blog. And then people were like, oh my gosh, like you should make a book and like put all the writings in there. And it just never really clicked for me until about 2 years ago, where I decided I would use all of the writings that I had from the blog and from 2017 and kind of piece it in Confessions of a Healing Mother kind of book.
Mm.
And so it's been 5 years of, just writing out all the things and piecing it together and finally letting them go.
Nice. I love it. Like, but what actually, because you've been writing since for a minute
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
but what actually pushed you to actually publish it? Like, you know what? I think I'm ready to publish it, mom or
Yeah,
dad, or what was
and
it?
I think it was just, like, the people around me, like, my loved ones, because I would always read it to them, and I would be like, "Hey, listen to this," or, like and they would be like, "We don't wanna hear it anymore. You need to put it in a book so that everybody can read it." And
Aw.
so, I was even to the point where I even put it all in the book. I put it on Amazon, and I published it, and it was on there for about a week. And then my mom was like, "Hey, what happened to your book?" Like, and I was like, "Oh, actually, it's on Amazon right
Oh
now."
my
She's like,
god.
"What? How long has it been on Amazon for?" I'm like, "For a week." So I kind of hide behind the craft of my
Mm,
work because I just don't know how to let it go, or maybe I'm
yeah.
sensitive about my stuff.
Uh,
But either
yeah.
way, it's very hard for me to like let go of this idea that I'm a writer.
Oh wow. I love so you were basically incognito for a week?
Yes. Hiding on Amazon for a week.
And I love the way she texts me. The way she texts me was like, "Mac, my book is out now. Here."
Like, if you
That's
wanna get it
it.
and that's how I word it to people. I'm like, "Hey, if you wanna get one, you can get one. If you
No,
don't worry about
I didn't
it."
even get that. It was like, "Mac, I published the book here." And I was dead. I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, it's a really big deal, and I know it is,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't wanna take away from it. I just, like, I'm kinda like, "Oh, let me know what you think. If you don't like it, it's cool,"
Yeah.
you know?
Well, no, it's a process, it's very dear to you. So to
Mhm.
share your private writings or thoughts
Yeah.
um is like it's almost as like you're sharing your diary. Well,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
basically your
Yeah. No.
diary,
Yeah.
and you're sharing it
Exactly.
with the whole public to hear and see, and it's
Mhm.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
like everything, like the ugly, the good,
Yeah.
the bad,
Yeah.
and I know that's probably got to be. It's very vulnerable, you
Yeah.
know.
I remember somebody telling me that too. They were like, vulnerability is your superpower. And so I felt
Mm,
like this book is full of transparency, vulnerability, and
yeah.
God's grace ultimately.
I love it. Well, I love that. Now, I know that motherhood is definitely the inspiration of this
Yeah.
whole entire
Hmm.
writings. Now, tell me your journey of motherhood. Like, how has it been for you to push you further to write it all out?
Yeah.
Like, what has it looked like? Your thought
Hard.
process.
Like hard. Um Yeah, I did not walk into motherhood, like, happy about it, if I'm being honest. It
Mm,
was very hard for me to, I struggled with the idea of motherhood a lot, and it was
mm,
just because, I like being in control of things,
yeah.
and clearly you can see that with me, like, wanting to let the book go because I want it to be mine, and so
Mm,
for motherhood, it was the same thing. I had this idea of how it should look and how it should be, and then it wasn't until I came to know God to where He's like, yeah, that doesn't work for me. You have to let go of all these ideas of how it's
yeah.
supposed to be. So motherhood was very hard for me. And still, like, I'm
Mm,
still learning that it's a process, right? That
yeah.
like my kid's gonna wake up and, everything's gonna be different.
Yeah.
It's not the same all the time. And so I have this issue of control. And so I had to let go
Yeah.
because motherhood, you can't control anything in motherhood. So
Now that ain't that the truth, dude. I mean, have you ever had like these challenges though? Like, are all of the most of the challenges that you did have, are they all written down here? Is that what you're
yes,
basically
yes. Most of
okay?
them are. And anything that like I had struggled with or went through with motherhood, I jotted them down and most of them are in the book. I think there was a couple that I didn't put in there just for the sake like it was my kid and I didn't want to be seem like I was bashing my kid. It's like, okay, mom, you confessing my
I
stuff,
know, right?
so I don't
Like,
want her to
hey,
grow
wait,
up
hold
and
up.
read it and be like, okay, is it confessions of
Oh,
Layla or confessions of her Layla's mother?
I know, right? Get it right, mom. Okay, you should have just named it after
Yeah.
me, right? At that point, wow, I love it. Now I know that you getting into this book now. Are we looking forward to other things that you are deciding to do, or
Yeah,
as
I'm
far as
open to
writing?
it. I'm open to it. I
Yeah.
know that like I really want to start another, poetry book, but other than that, I'm open to ideas. I like this creative side of me. So
Hmm.
I'm definitely open to it and letting go of this idea of holding my gift to just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm open to things.
What do you like when you wrote it to like? Because I know you were just writing it because that was just something that was on your mind that you were going through in
Yeah.
these chapters. But what do you anticipate for it to hit home for other mommies? To inspire, to encourage? Or is this just something that, like, you know what? It's just what I went through and I wanted to share. Like, do you think that, like, because it touched me in many ways,
Yeah.
like different things that you talked about of different topics.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, did you ever think that it was going to inspire someone else as a mother?
No, I didn't think it was gonna inspire. I hear a lot like the best compliment that I ever got was from a single woman, and she said that your motherhood inspires me to be a mother one day. And I thought that was like the
Oh,
highest compliment, just because it's like
hmm,
I struggled with being a mom, and so like
yeah,
how would anybody look at me and be like, wow, I can't wait to be a mom too, because
yeah,
like the way you mother, it works. I want it to work like that. And so I didn't think going into it and like putting it on paper that people would be like, oh my gosh, like this is inspirational. I
yeah,
just thought, hey, if I can convey any type of,
mm,
words to ease the thing that you're going through, then hey, let this be that. Um, I don't want to convince anybody of anything. I just
yeah,
want to convey to them basically that God is real, that
yeah,
he works,
yeah,
that the things that I've went through, he was able to walk me through those
mm,
things. And so a lot of it is like a journey of self-healing,
Wow.
self-awareness, and that
Yeah.
takes work. I think that
Yeah.
takes work, and so it's a book full of the work that I've done, internally and externally. So, if it inspires you to write your own book, then hey.
I love it. I'm gonna have you do some readings, but I'm gonna do that in the end.
Mhm.
Some things I want to get close and personal with you.
Mm.
Like I know, like just prior to this, we were talking
Mhm.
about love. I want to know some love things because is there a boo in the situation nowadays? Like what is
Oh my
Nalo into
gosh.
right now these days? Do we have one in the
Oh
corner or are we
my gosh.
dating or what is it? What does it look like as mommy? Is mommy dating?
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
talk about it, babe.
Mommy is dating someone. So
Okay.
yes. Yes.
Are we serious? What are we looking at?
Oh my gosh,
I know
man.
right now it's like,
Do
who
brown
wants to
people
I
blush?
don't
Because
know.
I feel
Yes,
like our
they do, because you're blushing all over. So it must be that serious. Like it looks good
Yes.
on you. Like
Yes.
you're definitely
There's
glowing. Yeah.
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 I can't say anymore
You
because I
can't say anymore. You know what I can't stand is when people say, "Okay, nothing is off limits, Mac," and then you get on the mic and it's like, yes, but I won't say anymore. Like, okay, leave it at that. Okay, okay, guys, she's not single, ready to mingle right now. Okay, she's
Oh my
off
gosh.
off the market. That's what I want to say right now. Okay, so she's off the
Oh my
market.
goodness.
And it looks good on you though, love. Like you're glowing. I
Thank
haven't
you.
seen this in you. Like
Oh my
I remember when she texted me and she was like, "I'm dating." I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "This is wild. What are you
Yeah,
talking about?" Like just
you
like
were like, "Gila,
boom.
wait, what?
But
What is going on? Who is this? I need details.
oh
Should we
my
do
god.
lunch later?"
Like you can't just text that and think I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be like, wait,
Yeah, I
what?
try to
Back
skim
it
over
up.
that really
Like it
quick.
was just kind of like I dropped the book and I'm dating Mac. It was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? Who are you? Who are you? Like, I mean, like last I checked, it was like,
Oh my
I'm just getting right with God, Mac, and I'm not ready to date, right? And no, I'm not writing the book. I'm just doing certain things. I just be a regular person going to church,
Not a
right?
regular person.
I just
Oh
want
my
to be a regular person.
gosh. Mac.
And then the next conversation and all her text was like, I dropped the book, Mac, and I'm dating. I'm all like, wait, what? I'm like, who in the hell are you and where's Gilo at? Can you bring her to
Oh
me to
my
talk about some things?
goodness.
So this was basically us catching up in like a
Yeah.
long time. So I was like, wow. I
Yeah.
mean, this is life though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is good living, right? This is true
Yes.
living. And I'm super stoked. Like, I'm just really proud of you. Like, all the things that I've seen and the groomation of you coming to this place because I know, like you mentioned earlier, it's been a lot of heartache,
Yeah.
in this transition of motherhood. I know Layla's like 10 or 11 now.
She's 11.
She's 11 now. And so 11 years of motherhood.
Mhm.
And I'm bedazzled because, be bedazzled, not bedazzled. That's not even the right word, but I get it
Yeah.
because, now transitioning into grandmotherhood and, being a mother for 24 years,
Mm.
I always look back like, wow,
Yeah.
every chapter is amazing, but it's a whole lot of work. Like,
Yeah.
as you mentioned,
Yeah.
in each chapter. What chapter would you say with you and Layla's journey where you just knew you was going to be good?
Probably when I turned 30.
Mm,
Yeah. And this was right
yeah.
when the pandemic hit, so I wanted to have, like, a whole
Wow.
30th, like, with all my close friends, and
Yeah.
that's when the pandemic had just hit, and so I had to cancel everything, but it was, like, when I turned and I mean, but I'm 32 right now, so that's
Yeah.
not, like, far
Just 2
off.
years
Yeah,
ago,
just 2
huh?
years ago where I felt like
Wow.
I'm good, I'm at a good place, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, man, like, that's only 2 years ago that I, like,
Yeah.
felt that way, and I think even then, I was able to, like, be okay with writing the book and piecing it together, when
Nice.
I was 30 'cause I just felt like I was going into a whole new decade, and, like, I felt
Mm.
like I don't stray from age. I like
Yeah.
turning a new age because I like looking back and, like, as women, like, they're like, "Don't ask a woman how old she is." I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm okay with you asking
Yeah.
me how old I am. I'm not afraid of age."
I
But it was
love
like when
that.
I turned 30, I felt different. Every year I
Mm.
turned a new age, I felt the same, but it
Yeah.
was like when I turned 30, I was able to be like, "Whoa, it's different here,
Wow.
and I'm gonna be different here."
Like
And
a
so
milestone?
yeah,
Like you hit a milestone,
yes, and
right?
so now that I'm 32, it just keeps getting better.
Okay, look at you. Love looks good on you,
Oh
girl.
god.
I can't stand you right now. She over here gloating right now with her love self. Um,
Oh my gosh,
I'm
neck.
dead right now. I love that you say that because it's crazy. Because me and Ola just had this conversation. Is because I've always hated to say my
Mhm,
age.
mhm.
Like just aging and getting older.
Yeah,
Just because in my mind, when I think about aging, I think it's hard.
yeah,
I think of illnesses. Your body's different.
yeah,
You're not the same as you were, like in your prime or whatever
yeah,
it was. But he was telling me, embrace it.
yeah.
You know why? Because you've overcome all those years to
Mhm.
be this person.
Yes.
And he was just like, you got to stop thinking like a little girl. Because if you think that you want to be 21, you're going to start acting like a
Mhm.
21-year-old, but
Mm.
you're not.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, like, okay,
Mhm.
gosh, can't the girl just do it? Because I feel like at this age, being older, I feel like I'm in my prime.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
reason why I say this is because I actually know what I want now.
Yep.
I ain't playing no
Yep.
games. It's like all of it, all the BS that you was
Yep.
doing in your
Yep.
20s and 30s, you've outgrown it,
Yeah.
and you want to be like you're established.
Absolutely.
There's more wisdom in
Mhm.
there. There's like just life
Yeah.
experience that allows you to be just this a beautiful being of a
Mhm.
woman.
Mhm.
Like I
Mhm.
think in my 20s it was just a whole lot of like self-destruction.
Yeah.
In my 30s it was like, okay girl, you got to heal.
Yeah.
you know and now in my 40s I feel like I'm actually really living
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Like I could see the things that God has
Mhm.
been, look at me. God is finally like allowing me
Mhm.
to really see it
Yeah.
from the right perspective.
Yeah.
Because I think from those lenses is just a whole lot of dysfunction and a whole lot of mistakes before I can get to this place.
Mhm.
And not that I'm saying that I'm making better. I am making better
Yeah.
decisions. Like,
Yeah.
like a lot of maturity, I should
Yeah.
say,
Yeah,
huh?
that's the beauty of aging, though, I think, is
Yeah.
that you're able to reflect back out of all the chapters of your life and be like, "I think this one's my best." And then the next
Yeah.
age, you're like, "Nah, this one's better." And it
Yes.
just keeps getting better. And also it's your perspective on how you want the next year to be.
Whew. I think because I had kids at a very young age,
Mhm.
I had to grow up with the kids.
Mhm.
And it was a lot of things that I had to let go of accepting. It's like,
Yeah.
girl, you can't party no more. Girl,
Mhm.
you can't do this no more.
Mhm.
Girl, you got responsibilities. You
Yeah.
got to wake up in the AM to go to work now.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just do certain things. Like, you just have to let go once you become a mother,
Yeah.
too, right? I think that's what I would say for that sense. So that's why I asked you, like, what time and what frame that was for you. So I love that,
Yeah.
you know?
And I'm a single mom and that was so hard for me
Mm,
to say for a long time because I didn't go into this wanting to be a single mom. And so
right.
I had that's why there was this control issue of trying to control my narrative. And so
Wow.
once I let go, God was able to narrate my story the right way and like I was able to be like, "Okay, God, that's my story. I'm a single mom." So I had to let go of this idea. And so it's like you said, like me and my kid are growing up together. And so I don't
Yeah.
get things right all the time. I have to
Yeah.
apologize often.
Mm,
That's the way my motherhood story looks, and it looks different than what my mom did for me.
yeah. And it will. Every generation has its proper, definition of impact.
Yeah.
I think that for me, because I say like, our parents, well, at least my parents, them figuring out just coming from Samoa
Yeah.
and trying to figure out how to live in America and make ends meet
Yeah.
and things like that. And then us being raised here with parents that are
Yeah.
not really, trying to hip to the American lifestyle. But I mean, I see it. Each
Yeah.
generation has their struggles,
Yeah.
but they also have their impacts and their influence, which is great. And I see that. Um, so now I'm gonna transition over to like, you sure you didn't want to talk about love life? Because
Mm.
I know I was just trying to get it out of her, guys. I'm just trying to get
I'm
out of
not
her.
saying nothing anymore.
Tell me right now, though, what are you currently reading right now?
What am I currently reading?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Bible.
Eh?
I go through a devotion with my family, so we've been going through a mindset devotion.
Mm.
I'm not actually reading anything right now.
Okay.
The last thing I did read was about a month ago. I read Toni Morrison, Beloved.
Oh.
It's I love reading that. I think this is my second time reading it, but I'm not reading anything right now. I think I've just been
Yeah.
reading my own book and like
Yeah.
making sure it looks
Yeah.
good on paper. And so and then I have one of my girlfriends, she calls me a lot. And so every day we'll just go read it together. And she's like, I feel like I just like the way you read it. So like I'm gonna call you every night
I
and like
know,
I just
right?
want you to read me one poem a night.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
So like
That's
she'll
what's
call me
up.
and we'll like read it together.
I love that. Now, has Layla read it?
I've read her a couple of the poems, and then I would be like, "Hey, what is this about? What do you think it's about?" And then she'd be like, "It's about me, mom." But I read her a couple of the poems, but she hasn't like gone through it
Oh,
thoroughly.
okay. How about mom and dad? What has been their insight of this whole book?
They're proud, very,
Yeah.
very proud. So my dad's he gets emotional sometimes, and
Oh.
he'll be like, "Wow, this is really good," and I'm like, "Yeah, you think so?" So they're very proud, and
Yeah.
they were the pushing force for me to like put this out, and
Nice.
so I'm very grateful for
Oh my
them.
gosh. I love you, mom and dad. I really miss you guys. So I just have to say that knowledge does come from a good solid foundation, for mom and dad. So I know the inspiration of these writings definitely has come from mom and dad and different things that she's been up
Yeah.
with, just having great families. Is a big deal. So let's get to it. I want to know what has been the most challenging thing that you had to write out or just kind of like, let
Yeah.
really, like as you mentioned, let go
Mhm.
to put it on these blank
Paper.
pages.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The hardest one would be the abortion poem that I did write.
Mm,
Um, I wrote it in the middle of the night, and I didn't think that anybody would hear it ever. And
wow.
then I actually did it at a church event. Well, I actually did it for somebody. We were like at a studio, and he was like, "Do you have any other kind of work?" And then I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I actually pulled that one out,
Wow.
and he was like, "Just like like spit it on the mic and see like how it sounds like in the microphone." And it was him and his wife, and I said it, and he was like, "Girl, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're not gonna ever perform that one now." And so I got to do it,
Yeah.
in front of a live audience once, and that was the only time that I did it. But it was like something that was very personal, also
Yeah.
because like family, my family didn't know anything about this. And
Yeah.
so I had to let go of, okay, well, this is my truth and this is part of the
Yeah.
healing process, right? So we're gonna let it go.
No.
Yeah. And that's the hard part is
Ooh.
like when people talk about healing, because everybody, it's like kind of like this cliche thing, right? Like,
Mm,
I'm going through a healing process. It's like the part of healing is like letting go of like the hard,
the ugly.
dark stuff,
Yeah.
and then working through that. And so, like, when I talk about singleness a lot, it's like, a lot of times people have a hard time sitting with themselves because
Yeah.
when you sit with yourself, you have to like call out the stuff within you. But when
Mm,
you're around people, when you're drinking, when you're,
yeah.
smoking, it clouds all the
It numbs
stuff.
it.
It numbs it. And so you
Yeah.
can't actually sit with yourself. So when you sit with yourself, you're able to do the work. And
Mm.
so I think people confuse healing with just like this, oh, we're gonna let go. And like, it's like these chakras and sage, which, whatever, but it doesn't work. You
Yeah.
gotta sit with God. You gotta be able to let him dissect your life and you got to
Wow.
be able to work through the process of it. And so my healing and the working through it was letting go of the hard stuff. And so that was very
Yeah.
hard for me.
And also just sharing that. That's so wow. I truly commend you. That's I mean, it's one thing to even share it on a diary, but also share it with just your girls because you know it's not gonna go
Yeah.
anywhere. It's
Yeah.
just sitting there still with you. It's basically just still sitting
Mhm.
with you. But to go public with it is like, wow, love, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you, Mac.
I really am. I love you. So I'm ready for you to kind of dissect some
Mm.
things in here. Um, my favorite one is basically the friendship one,
Yes.
but also the one that you did read about,
Mhm.
and I think you know why? Because it's crazy. Because when we think about friendship, when we think about sisterhood or
Yeah.
these things, and I take it back all the way to the Adam and Eve days of
Yeah.
just him being isolated and being alone. God saw that he was in misery because
Mhm.
he was in need of company, right? And I guess when I think about friendship, it is a lot of work
Yeah.
because it's a relationship.
Mhm.
Because you're gonna have to look past a lot of different things. Because
Mhm.
although you might think that friendship is is nice and pretty, and you're
Mhm.
always gonna say the right thing, um, I have had my fair share of war in regards to friendship, just because of trust issues,
Yeah.
of like not really allowing people in, always having
Mhm.
a wall up,
Mhm.
different things I would say, just because people have hurt me,
Mhm.
and I've seen a lot of bad things happen though
Mhm.
too, and so I think that's always why I think that's a first stance for me.
Yeah.
And I know you're gonna read this about friendship, but tell me, what would you say, like, for you, what has been always the foundation of a solid friendship though? Well, besides God, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. I mean, I've been I've been blessed enough to cultivate really solid friendships. I think what people forget in friendships is that it's not one-sided, that it has to be
Mm,
50-50, right? Just like we talk about relationships or 100-100. Um, friendship is just like a relationship, and when we treat them like then we're able to like get an understanding of each other. It's not perfect, but there's pride, there's all of that goes
ego.
into friendship, and like having to let go of things and not take it personal. I mean, I've had a best friend since I was like a freshman in high school, and like now we're here, and then I've had friends since middle school that I'm still really tight with, and we can pick up where we left off. And so I think no friendship is perfect, but the nuances to friendship is what makes friendship friendship. Um,
Mm,
and so I've been blessed enough to cultivate really tight ones where every time I get somewhere, I'm like, I want to bring them like at a table where we can like all sit down. And I think that was the beauty of you bringing me to Live Street, was like,
mm,
there was these nuances of friendship that I was able to see. And then I was able to be a part of women, Samoan women, first of
mhm.
all, and having diverse opinions,
Yeah.
and then coming to the table with topics. And I want to say that Live Street for me was a kickoff for a lot of Polynesian women to know who I was.
Oh,
I
nice.
think that Live Street opened the door to a lot of Samoan women following me, and
Mm,
I love that
yeah.
because I'm a Samoan woman,
Yeah.
and having my own people support me is a big deal to
Yes.
me.
It is.
And so I think friendship has a lot to do with that. And then also it's the iron that sharpens iron, but I say
Mm,
not just, because we think like we use that scripture and say like, oh, iron that looks like iron, and like we look like each other, we talk like each other, so like we're sharpening one another. But it's
mm.
also the irony that doesn't look like you
Yeah.
that like, it sharpens you even more. And so I'm also letting go of this idea that like, oh, well, she's not like me. I don't really like, that's not really my type of person that I would get
Yeah.
along with. And in that, God still sharpens me in that
Yeah.
friendship. And so, I think that there is great things that you can learn from people that don't look like you.
Absolutely. Well, I think that for me, I actually like to get connect with folks that don't think like me or don't look like me or don't talk like me. It's always interesting for me is that I do have a common ground with people a lot. Like I'll find a connection with people, but it's always finding me to be intrigued by others
Mhm.
who think differently. Because I know that's why I pick a lot of people's head or brain, is because that's where I get it from. Is because I know that their perspective is way different from me,
Mhm.
and I'm always gathering to think that. Like, I mean, I'm always open to like hear what they have,
Mhm.
what their perspective of on certain things. And I think I learned this at a very young age, as far as in journalism, is because other people's stories have always interested in me.
Mm.
Has
Yeah.
always been something that I love to hear, because obviously there was a journey that they had to take on to become this person.
Yeah.
Like even now, like when I see success, I already know that backstory is going to be
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like people only see the end result of like their success. They don't really see the journey, that all that hard work that took
It took
them
to
to
get there.
get to
Yeah.
that place,
Yeah.
right? And then I know you said Samoan women. The reason why when I think about that, when I was young, is that, there really wasn't any Samoan women that were really embracive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they weren't really acceptive or like encouraging or
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah.
And if you did know some, there was a very rare commodity
That
of
is
them,
very
right?
true. They weren't as
Yeah.
welcoming.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that for me, I'm grateful I always had solid friendships as a young girl. But I know that if we didn't know each other since we were young, we was not gonna have
Yeah.
that relationship,
Yeah.
right? But I thank God for him to tee me up at a very young age, and
Mhm.
then to become like to see all the weathers of the storms of
Yeah.
me and the different seasons that I've been
Yeah.
in. But I can't remember besides my mom, because my mom was one of the people who were outcasted by
Yeah.
her peers and the women because of decisions. Well, coming from a divorced family, a lot of
Yeah.
people just kind of shun my mom,
Mhm.
actually. And I think that's why I never really could really see fit, or it wasn't really like a good community of Samoan women to
Yeah.
be like, the way that it
Yeah.
is now.
As yes,
Yeah, the way
yes.
that it is
I would
now.
say that too because I didn't grow up, around a lot of Samoan women. Like, a
Right.
lot of my friends weren't Samoan,
Right.
and so now I am open to the idea of it, but one thing I've never been, it was a hater.
Yeah,
So
right?
so I'm
Exactly.
I'm very open to,
Yeah.
to be able to be like, "Hi,
Yeah.
like, are you Samoan?"
No.
Like, don't run away from me.
No,
We're
yeah.
people.
No. Well, I freak out too, because that's just how I am.
Yeah.
Like, like you already know, love. I'm
Yeah.
not a hater. Like I
Yeah.
really embrace people in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, in truth, we're Samoan too,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
That's just who I am,
Yeah.
right? That's part of
Yeah.
me, right? That's not all of me, but that's part of me. And like, another thing too is that I don't speak Samoan fluently.
Yeah.
Like although I know the culture, I understand it well.
Yeah.
I think that's always been a step behind to
Yeah.
like,
It's the
oh,
barrier, right?
yeah, like
Yeah.
either you're not Samoan too
Yep.
much, or maybe you're too Samoan, or
Too
whatever it
yeah.
was, like,
Yeah.
or
It's
you're a
true.
fob, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
so
true.
that's why I say, like, I love that we're bringing that up just in regards to friendship, just because that's what we are,
Yeah.
and like how it was growing up. And I know that for the future, I don't want that for my
Yeah.
daughter. I want her to be a strong Samoan woman, uprising, but also I pray to God that there's going to be another person. That's why I am the way
Mhm.
that I am. I think about this when I respond, is that I'm the way that I am is because I have children, and I pray to God that if there is another Samoan or an older person,
Yeah.
that they embrace my child the way
Mhm.
that I would embrace their
Mhm.
people's,
Mhm.
like their child too.
Yeah.
In general, it should be,
Yeah.
but more so because we are the
We're
same.
the same.
We're literally the
Yeah.
same. And so, especially because I'm in an industry where we're so under represented.
Yeah.
Like literally, we're the minority to the 100 power.
Yeah.
So when I do see others that are Samoan or Polynesians, I
Yeah.
freak out, because literally there's only one under the 1,000%
Yeah.
of us. Like literally, I'm the eighth broker of the whole entire company that is Polynesian.
Wow.
So I guess that's why I would say, like, you
Yeah.
representation of us as a people.
Yeah.
Also, too, like, although Samoa is so small, like we're literally a dot on the map, peoples, but we are so
Yeah.
powerful. Like
Yep.
you see the magnitudes of how
Mhm.
many people, like they even say it, like when you're locked up in jail, like there could be like 20,
Mhm.
just say 20 African Americans, right? If you have five Samoans, in that room, they're dominating
Yeah.
in comparison to like 100 Mexicans. And I would say it's just because of our build, and just like I just feel like we're chosen,
Yeah.
and it might seem like I'm being biased and oh, she's like this Samoan power girl. Like, no, it's nothing like that, because I know like it's easy for you to have a whole panel of other races, but when it comes to Samoans, like, why are they just all Samoan?
Yeah.
Well, the truth of the matter is because we can't.
Yeah. Representation matters.
We can't.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Absolutely.
So I would love for you to read the friendship poem, and
Okay.
then whatever you're choosing, if you're picking, I know you have your favorite, but I know like whatever hits home to you, love, okay? And then we can wrap it up. I'm super stoked.
Okay. We forget friendships require work too. How often do you distance yourself for the sake of being alone? I like being alone. I savor my solitude and freedom in it, but that is not today's writing. Today, I write about the friendships and the women that I've added to my life. How beautiful for your name to hold weight in circles where neither competition nor interior motives are kept. Do you remember how the body holds tools that build itself up? How we are crafted to thrive in community? How iron is sharpened against iron? That doesn't come overnight. That kind of deep connection in women is not formed over a commonality and just shared interest. Those shallow bondings cannot be found in the women I share tables with. These women are much too complicated, much too busy, much too deep for transactional, non reciprocal relationships. These women are not often labeled as nice. They don't smile all the time. They don't know what to say all the time or even politically correct about it, but they show up. Their how are you means something. They sit there and listen as you cry about your same tired cycle and then hit you with a slap of advice. You will all laugh and say you are right, and they will love you no matter the decision you make. It is C.S. Lewis who said, "The friendship is not a reward for our discrimination and good taste and finding one another out. It is the instrument by which God reveals to each of us the beauties of others." To understand the magnitude of my growth is to look at the women I have surrounded myself with over time. Not generally nice, but overall good for my soul.
Woo-wee. Come on,
Yes.
somebody. Overall, like I just want to highlight something that really touched
Yes.
me, which is the part of much too deep for transactional, non-reciprocal relationships.
Yeah.
That was just
So that
like,
takes like some self-awareness for you to
yeah.
realize that this friendship is not going to add to my growth.
Mm. Come on, somebody.
So you got to let them go.
Bye.
Not
Bye,
everybody
Felicia.
can sit at the table.
Whoo, she said it.
That's the
She said it.
nuance of friendship.
I mean,
Yeah.
I might have thought
There's
it,
no
but
beef,
she
but it's just
said it.
like, girl, bye.
I know, no beef, no love lost, but bye, girl.
Okay. So this next one is called For You. And this was the one where I did talk about that it was hard for me to write or just to even
Okay.
speak.
Yeah. Wow, progress, huh? Girl, you grown. When she grown, huh?
Last night it rained. There is something about rain. It has this effect of reminding me of moments that I regret. Well, not all rainy days do that, but it did that yesterday. It held my whole body captive. It made me remember you, made me think of you, made me cry for you, made me recall how you left my body, how I let them take you from my body, how my womb shrunk into 1,000 puzzles I couldn't put back together, how I let them drive me there. Let me make the decision. Don't hold a gun to my head. I'll make the decision. This is my body, right? This is my womb. This is how I take the living and treat the dead. This is wrong. No, this is okay. This is me owning my womanhood. God, where are you? My daddy won't be proud. I'm too proud to walk in the room with another child under my arm by a man who won't help me with the first no. This is because of him, not me. Don't pretend this is because of me. This is about owning up to some shh. Don't tell nobody. This is shame. This is the thing you hide under the rug in case your daddy finds his name attached to your sin and disowns you. This is my blood. It leaks of stories. It holds me against the windows of my soul and screams, "How could you hurt me, mommy?" This is the part where I wake up and salted tears that soak my lips. I hold my hands in my face and try to wipe the memory from my mind, from my skin, from my hands. There's blood on my hands. It's 3 a.m. I pour myself a glass of water, try to hydrate myself back to reality, and yet that seems so far. I sit with a pen and a paper. I guess this is my letter to you. There is not enough words, enough rhyme, enough songs to sing my way out of this, but sometimes I try. I left your daddy 2 months before I knew you to be. I
Mm.
cradled you in my heart, but I made up my mind of you in my mind. And in my mind, sometimes it always never makes sense. How do you make sense of a woman having a baby with a man who's not a man or one who's not hers? He belongs not to another woman, but to himself. A man to himself could never be a good
Mm.
thing. He loves not anything but himself. The audacity of me to think that I could con a man into loving me more than himself. But then you can say, Mommy, how could you love yourself more than me?
Mm.
So I am no better than him. I guess we're both wicked at loving ourselves. It sounds like an excuse. I don't know what comes of guilt like this with choices that change the strings of our lives, but I hold you in my pocket in case I meet you in heaven. Can you ask Jesus to let me into heaven? Is this sin too wicked to be forgiven? Does the sea forget the depth of our sin? Does it cry out for the bodies we sank? Who am I to kill my own and hold another like peace? Can I be free? How do you crack open the middle without shattering the heart? I broke God's heart the moment I let them take you. I awoke in a cold, empty room and my body weakened at the thought that this was on me, not your father, not my mother, nor your sister. She asked for you, your sister. Without the knowledge of you being here before, she holds you in her heart, holds prayers in her palms for you, makes room for you in case you come back to play with her. Is this what guilt looks like? What comes of your ghost like body that haunts me in my dreams? Your memory is what I caress and fear. I forget my own damnation. Sometimes I hate myself, then cry for forgiveness daily. When this reaches you, remember my smell, how I reeked of pain. I carried it in my veins. I gave out all the love I could and had none left. By the time I reached out for you, you were gone, and I deeply mourned for you.
Ooh. My love. Wow.
Mm, mm, mhm.
I just felt that. That was hard. Like, not hard, like, it was like
Mm.
hard in my heart, you know? Man, these words. And the way that you speak it is like, I mean, spoken words, I guess it would be in a dictionary and would have your picture in it.
I love
Right?
that.
I would say so. I mean, I've heard you do spoken word several times, but I think that one I'm always going to keep in my heart,
Mhm.
you know, and I know you are too because well, it's you,
Mm.
you know, every parts of you. And I think you know, as we wrap up just Confessions of a Healing Mother, is there anything you want to share, Gilo, about just anything about what we're gonna transition into, or are we anticipating on something new in 2023?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of riding this one out a little bit, getting
Yeah,
comfortable with saying these out loud. I'm able to let them go and put them out there. And so there's this wanting to hold these a little bit more and say them out loud a little bit more. So yeah, I
yeah.
think I'm getting comfortable with, doing that right now. I don't know if there's yet to be like a new project, but exploring what I could do with this.
You should do a book signing though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've thought about it. I haven't, like, put it together or anything, but
yeah.
yeah.
I would love to. Well, if I can help you and administer it, I have a couple ideas, but we can get together on that. I
Yeah.
think you deserve to do a signing on just because I know there's so many other women that I know. Like, I feel like every girl that I've talked to
Yeah.
lately, someone, women that
Mhm.
I've been getting ready to get on the podcast, they've been like, I ordered my book. I'm like, you did? I'm all like,
Mhm.
okay. So we need to get, just because, you know why? This is a big deal. And I know you're downplaying it. I know you're downplaying it because I get it because that's how I felt. That's how I felt
Yeah.
too when like, because I know that the podcast has
Yeah.
been in the making
Yeah.
forever, right? And then
Yeah.
now we're here, right?
Yeah.
And just as the book has been in the making for a minute, but now we're here,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's like basically that maturity or that push, whatever it might have been, that it's like, it's just time. And not to apologize for it,
Yeah.
but that, look, we're here now. We're gonna do it, and we
Mhm.
gotta go. And we don't have the luxury of like turning back. We can't be
Yeah.
like Lot's wife, just turn back and that's it.
Okay.
Now we
Not
just
a
gotta
pillar of
keep going. I
salt.
know, right? We just gotta go. And the reason why I say this, although we're, like when I think about it, we're just on a journey.
Mhm.
And we don't know, but we're inspiring and impacting.
Mhm.
Like, and I would say this for just because of I'm pretty sure there's several other women who have been in your position to decide, like, am I going to keep the baby?
Mhm.
Am I going to not keep the baby? Is this, whatever the case might be, it is a real topic
Yeah.
that most people I mean, you see it all the time in politics, like they're
Yeah.
having these crazy rallies about whether they should do it, okay it, or approve it, or whatever it is, or fighting over the body or whatever it may be. But I'm saying, like, there is a lot of crazy topics in here that I would say that is very inspiring because you've overcame it and you're
Yeah.
here to be able to tell it.
Mhm.
That's what I say. But is there anything else that we were looking forward to 2023 besides riding it? Because I feel like, what I
What do you
think?
want me to
I
say
think she's
back?
gonna text me in like the middle of the year and like, I did it, Mac, again, and I'm gonna laugh and say, why you didn't tell me? Okay, we're gonna get back on the podcast. We're gonna get on back on the podcast, and I'm dead though. But what I want to say though is I want to encourage you that just do it.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
like, whatever is in the back burner, whatever you got going on, whatever your thought process is, yeah, soak into this. But I know your new project, whatever it may be, it's gonna be phenomenal for others because it's like we mentioned, um, unfortunately, our life is not our own.
Mm.
And although we want to
Mhm.
privately process
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
like I say this all the time, if I could live out this life privately and do certain things, then honestly, we wouldn't be God's child because, that's not how it works for us.
Yeah.
That's not unfortunately, that's not the choices that we have to make. The choices that it's all got to be for his glory.
Yeah.
And
And it wouldn't have substance if it wasn't for his glory.
right. And unfortunately, it's got to be public, you know? And unfortunately, right? I think about it all the time because every time I tell people if I could secretly do a lot of different things for the
Yeah.
kingdom, I would. I would. I want to. I fight it all the time.
Mhm.
Like, before I have to touch the mic, before I have to, speak to others or speak to the team or the business or
Yeah.
like out there on social media, I want to be by myself. Like, as you wrote these words, I love to be alone.
Mhm.
I love it. And I know that that's not how this works.
Yeah.
That's not how
Uh-huh.
it works though. And so that's why I say I am so proud of you cuz I know right now we're smiling, we're laughing,
Yeah.
but I know it was a whole lot of tears and a whole
Mhm.
lot of heartache and a whole lot of journey and a whole lot of processing to get to this page,
Yeah.
to get to this stage, And so I love
I
you.
love you, Mac.
I'm so proud. I can't wait to see Confessions of a Healing Mother Part 2 or whatever that
Yeah.
might be. And I know she's going to be making the Audible, so look out.
Hey.
That's going to be pretty tight
Yeah.
cuz like I know you mentioned like your friend was telling you
Yeah.
to read it. I just love like I feel like now I'm going to call her once I get my book and be like, just read it, Nalo. I'm going to sleep. Hurry up. I got you on speaker, girl. I'm going more, so go ahead and read it. So whatever page, and I love that you didn't number it. Was that
Yeah,
for a reason?
I did it, and then my dad was a little upset. So, he was like, I need my numbers. I need to know what page it's on." I'm like, "Yeah." So,
Did you do that on purpose
no, I
though?
didn't.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I'm
just
dead.
left the numbers off, and
Oh,
so
you
he
just
was
left that off?
he was a little upset about it, but
Oh,
you know
really?
what? It's my book.
I do what I want to. Like, it's my party. I do what I
Maybe next
want.
book you'll get numbers.
And you'll get a shout out
Yeah.
that. Just playing. I'm playing. I'm playing that. I'm playing. I'm playing. Well, just in summary, with everything and anything with Mac, I'm grateful for you, sis, for coming on board and just sharing your heart and your truth and pieces of you all around, and being very transparent for the world to see. Because you're definitely not a candle to be under the bed, but to be out there for the world in the dark, to be a light.
Thank you, Mac.
And that's right there in summary is everything and anything with Mac.
Yes.
Peace.